Hello, and welcome back to The Exchange, a podcast featuring real stories, real people, and real purpose. I'm your host, Ruby Jones, and I appreciate your support. The November 2026 election is one that could reshape control of the U.S. House of Representatives. And one of the nation's most closely watched contests is in Colorado's 8th Congressional District. It's a highly competitive seat that reflects the political, economic, and cultural diversity of the state. Joining me today is Manny Rutinel, a current member of the Colorado House of Representatives, representing House District 32. The longtime advocate, attorney, and first-generation American is running for Congress in this battleground district, seeking to unseat the incumbent and bring his vision for affordability, opportunity, and working family priorities to the national stage. In the state legislature, Manny has positioned himself as a pragmatic voice focused on policy outcomes and coalition building. Now, he is asking voters to send him to Washington to represent Colorado residents at a crucial time in America's political landscape. In my conversation with Representative Rutinel, we'll explore his background, the motivations behind his congressional run, and how he envisions representing the people of Colorado's 8th District. Manny, I would love to know about your upbringing. Where did you grow up, and how did you get to Denver?
I grew up with a single mom who immigrated to America in search of that American dream. And she bopped around all different parts of the country and the Dominican Republic looking for a job to be able to provide for us. And, that sort of struggle meant that I wasn't able to stay at a elementary school or a middle school for longer than a year and a half because we didn't know where my mom was going to have to hop over next. Eventually, when I was in law school, I made my way to Colorado and fell in love. And from the moment I stepped foot here, I decided I was going to live the rest of my life here as soon as I graduated from law school. And now here I am as a state representative of this great state, hoping to fight for working people and bring back, the resources that they desperately need.
Now, I have to ask, you fell in love with the state of Colorado, or you fell in love?
I was at the time seeing someone who was from Colorado. She introduced me to the state, and that didn't quite work out. But I fell in love with Colorado in the meantime, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience the wonderful nature of this state.
I love that. So, when it comes to deciding to run for public office, what was the moment that sparked your decision to run? And what was the moment that made you decide, I'm going to run for Congress?
Yeah, well, I mean, both of those moments were very similar. It involved members of the community basically calling me up, letting me know, hey, we need you right now. When I first ran for the state house, it was members of the community saying, this state rep seat is going to be term limited, and we need you to get ready whenever that time comes to be able to step into this role and bring any skills that you have um, to the Colorado State House. And the people that I represent now in Adams County are just absolutely wonderful. They are a diverse community of hardworking folks that are trying to make ends meet, and that represents the sort of background I come from. Single mom, working class background, knowing what it takes to live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I worked at McDonald's for many years. I saw that minimum wage come in, a minimum wage that, by the way, hasn't changed since I was there 15 years ago. And I know that folks in this district needed someone who represented them. The district now and the congressional district that I'll be running for is the most Latino district in the entire state. It's 40% Latino. It's folks that, have many struggles, have many hopes and dreams that me and my family and my mom lived as well. And so it's about bringing that representation, bringing that lived experience to this congressional seat, and it came from a place of the community asking me to step up in what is a really terrifying time for our community and for this country.
Hmm. You're right. There are certainly some very complex issues happening right now, and the political climate is turbulent at best. So, when it comes to your own political philosophy, your personal values, what are some of the things that make you feel prepared to take on this role?
Yeah. So in my first year as a state legislator, I was able to get over 13 of my bills passed into law. And that's because not only do I work really hard, but I know how to work with others. I know how to build the coalitions that it's going to take to get a bill from idea into a signature on the governor's desk. And one of the bills that I think represents a lot of my political philosophy that I'll mention is in my first legislative session, I expanded the earned income tax credit in Colorado to make it the most generous in the entire country. And that bill, alongside the family affordability tax credit that I co sponsored here, because of those two bills, we were able to slash childhood poverty by 41% overnight with the signing of the bill.
Hmm.
And that, to me, is a very clear indicator that poverty is a policy choice. That if we just decided to eradicate poverty, we could. If we decided to make life affordable, we could. If we decided to give the rights and freedoms that Coloradans deserve, we could do those things. We just need the political will. And so my philosophy comes down to hard work, pragmatism, working with others, and, you know, working to negotiate without compromising our values. That's where I stand.
That's impressive. Congratulations on all that you've accomplished so far as a state legislator. And, I think about everything that's happening right now and what you just said about being able to cross those lines and bring people together. What are some of the ways that you think people in this state can be brought together specifically?
Yeah, well, I think when you look at the surveys, when you go door to door to people, they fundamentally want many of the same things. They want an affordable house. They want affordable food. They want good health care. They want their Social Security and Medicare that they worked their entire life for to be intact, to not be messed with, to not be privatized. I think right now we need to come together around those things. And unfortunately, from my perspective, and a lot of folks across the district are telling me that they see our current member of Congress who has sold out the district in favor of his billionaire donors. And it's a real tragedy because now folks are going to have to pay twice as much for their healthcare, sometimes as much as four times as much for their healthcare. Their groceries continue to go up. They see that their rights and freedoms here in these communities and across the country are being violated. And what we need right now is real leadership that recognizes the harms that are coming from Washington to protect our community and to uplift the values that we all share and to work on the issues that we all care about.
Hmm. How did you spend your day today, Manny?
So, I mean, a bunch of things. I mean, a congressional campaign involves being out in the community. Today, I was doing my job as a state legislator at the Capitol for the morning. And then later on in the afternoon, I was calling up constituents, hearing their concerns, following up with volunteers. We recently, just before this, went to a rally for union workers that are looking to raise the standard of their work and their pay in an economy that is continuously struggling. These folks are trying to make ends meet, and they want to be able to work together to lift their own wages and ensure that they have a safe workplace. And so being there for them, making sure that I'm talking with them, hearing their concerns, that was my day today. We also filmed a few videos for what is happening right now across the country with mass federal agents and the fear that so many folks are feeling. So there was a lot that we did today, and of course, the day is not done yet.
Very hardworking. I commend that. Speaking of what's happening across the country and people's concerns about the immigration policies and how they're being carried out by federal agencies across the United States, what messages do you have for people who are struggling with how people are being treated, how their neighbors are being treated, and also with how laws are being carried out?
Yeah, I mean, folks are terrified right now, and there are I'll just tell you a little bit about my personal background so you understand um, why I feel this so personally. I'm the son of a single mom who immigrated to America in search of that American dream, and she worked hard every single day for this country, but we still struggled. But I was able to live out that American dream because of her sacrifices. And that was true for so many folks who came to this country in search of that American dream. And right now, what we see is an administration that is trying to instill fear in our communities, that is invading our American cities to strip us of our fundamental freedoms and rights. And I think folks are justified to be scared right now. And so, what I'm hoping to do, and the message of that I think hope that I see, that I tell folks, is that everywhere I go, to these rallies, to these protests, I see folks of all different backgrounds coming together, looking for a way to make sure that our democracy is intact, make sure that our rights and freedoms are protected, make sure that the Trump administration knows that we're not backing down. And when I see those crowds, that fills me with hope. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to take that energy and take back our Congress so that we can bring real accountability and real leadership to our Congress and to our government.
Now, there are concerns about the midterm elections in November, and people are wondering if everything that's happening right now might affect those elections. What do you say to that, or what are your insights regarding November?
I'm hopeful that Colorado's Secretary of State will do everything she can to make sure that our elections are free and fair here. But I don't want to downplay the concerns that folks have. Donald Trump has time and time again mentioned that maybe we shouldn't have midterm elections. And the people that surround him want to make sure that they maintain as much power as possible. And they do everything that they can, whether legal or illegal, to make sure that they maintain their power and they use their power. And so I think now is a time for folks to be vigilant. Now is a time for folks to sign up as election workers to make sure that this election goes in a free and fair way. Now is a time for folks to volunteer, to knock doors, to make the victory so overwhelming that it sends a clear message that we want real accountability. We want folks that are fighting for our rights, our freedoms, to lower costs in a genuine way. And that's what I'm hoping for right now.
So, if and when you're elected to Congress, what is the first thing you'd like to do to celebrate?
Yeah. Oof. Hopefully, my mom will be next to me and she will have made me some of her famous rice and beans and sweet plantains.
Oh,
So that's step one. And then step two is getting right to work. I fully intend to make sure that I'm fighting every single day, every single moment for the people of this district to lower costs, to protect our fundamental rights and freedoms. And that's what I'll be doing as soon as I finish that rice and beans dish.
when you think about legacy and impact, what impact do you want to have on the city of Denver, the state of Colorado, Adams County, and the United States as a whole?
Yeah. So when I think about the impact that I want to have for the people of the 8th Congressional District, is I want, when I step in there, for folks to know deep in their hearts that I am authentically leading for their affordability, for their jobs, for their rights and freedoms. When I talk about the affordability crisis, I'm not talking about it because I read it in some white paper. I'm talking about it because I lived it firsthand. I know the struggles of working people because that's my background. And so what I hope to do is go into Congress and fight every single day to make sure that those grocery prices go down, that families don't have to worry about putting food on the table and a roof over their child's head. I remember being a young teen when my mom walked into the house, opened an envelope, saw that the bank was foreclosing on our home, and she ran into her room and started crying. And in the wealthiest nation in the world, I don't think anybody should have to hear their mom cry like that. I don't think anybody should have to feel like they don't know where the next paycheck is coming from and whether it's going to be able to cover the cost of their house for their children. And so I want to work every single day to make sure that never happens to anybody ever again. And that means passing bold policy to lower healthcare costs, to lower housing costs, to make sure that our seniors are protected with their Social Security and Medicare. And that's what I'll be doing every single day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us after your very busy day, and I wish you the best of luck in November.
Thank you so much, Ruby. I really appreciate it.
Thank you once again to State Representative Manny Rutinel, candidate for Colorado's 8th Congressional District. As voters prepare to make critical decisions this November, conversations like this are an important part of understanding policy positions, leadership style, values, and a candidate's approach to governing. If you'd like to learn more about Manny Rutinel's campaign, including his platform, upcoming events, and ways to get involved, you can visit his official website at www.mannyforcolorado.com. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and stay engaged as we continue bringing you in-depth interviews with leaders who are shaping the future.